Expansion.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Expansion Podcast. Today we have a very, very, very interesting show. You may not know much about the man. I didn't know much about the man himself, but there's so many people in the world that are doing amazing things, and there's all these amazing stories. And this is the reason why we wanted to have this podcast to bring all these stories to light. Today we're going to be talking Irish drums. We're going to be talking Irish drums in space. Believe it or not, some crazy affiliation there with NASA and this Irish drum, which I look forward to hearing all about. But we're also going to be hearing about music production, Irish history, and all these things that I'm going to be throwing at today's guest, which is Kevin Kelly. Welcome to the show, my man.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Clap already.
Happy days.
Paulie's very happy to have you, as I am, but particularly Paulie because he's been speaking to me about you for some time.
Yeah.
Rightfully so, and now I really understand why, because you've been up to lots of very interesting things. For those of you at home, we're also going to be talking. There's this connection there with Midnight Oil, and even films nowadays, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And a lot of work that you've been involved with Irish culture and festivals. And a never-ending list of accomplishments, which I'm very excited to be sharing today and finding out more about, because we did have a chat off camera.
Yeah.
For me to get wet, as we say. But I look forward to delving deeper and finding out a lot more, which is one of the good things about my gig on this side of the table, bro. Which I get
Fantastic.
to learn.
I'm looking forward to it and
Yes,
having a great chat.
Yeah, thank you for joining us here today, all the way up in the hills on this beautiful Easter Friday.
Yep.
Beautiful weather. So happy Easter to you and to everybody at home.
Absolutely.
Listening.
Happy Easter to everybody. It's
Yes.
that's listening.
Yes, beautiful time of the year. And I'll take this opportunity to thank our foundation sponsors, Crash Claim, meeting new friends by accident. Or is it making new friends, Paulie? Meeting new friends, I was just joking. Crash Claim, thank you. And also Q Corp Construction, our friends at Q Corp, thank you so much. If you guys are interested in sponsoring the show, hit us up. All the contact details are there. Paulie, are you awake, brother?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just checking, man. I just wanted to check because I like him when he's awake.
Fantastic.
My friend.
Some people shouldn't be on the microphone like myself, you know what I mean?
Good on you. No, bro, Paulie, he works in the clubs with me as well. He's been picking up the mic lately. So good on him. He's getting a little brave and hopefully not too cocky. Okay, more importantly, man, Irish drumming.
Absolutely. I've been doing it for a while, and
yes,
it's great
brother.
to be sharing what I've been doing over the last almost 2.5 decades, you know?
Yes. So I would easily describe you as an ambassador for Irish drumming, particularly here in Australia. You know, this is something that you do around the clock and you're very passionate about and very good at.
Yeah. Thank you.
Tell me about it, because I'm Latin American background and drums are huge for us.
Absolutely.
We've got this massive African influence. You know, in my country we refer to it as the first instrument, because drums was the first instrument. Obviously the people in the African plains and other parts of the world were using very rudimentary kind of bits of plants and stuff to make sounds. But tell us about Irish drumming, where it comes from and its origins and where it is today, please.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's a mystery. The drum I play is called the bodhrán, and has a couple of different pronunciations. In the north we say bodhrán, in the south they call it the bodhrán. It's spelled B-O-D-H-R-A, and fada over the A, it's a stroke.
Okay.
B-O-D-H-R-A fada N.
Sure.
And they have been around, the drums themselves, frame drums, have been around for thousands of years.
Sure.
And a lot of cultures around the world have drums of that nature associated with them.
Sure.
It's a mystery how it ended up in Ireland. There's lots of different stories on how it ended up there, or why it was being used, and how it then migrated into music. Some people say it came from originally from the Egyptian side of the world.
Sure.
The oldest reference I have to a frame drum being used is there's a photograph I have of an Egyptian ceremony. This was a stone carving found near one of the pyramids, and it shows a frame drum being used in ceremony. And at the end of the day, it's the same shape And it's, if you imagine for a second a hieroglyph of a lady playing it with one pointy eye and playing a drum in ceremony, and then the other scene is a circle of people playing them. So these drums have been around for thousands of years.
Yes, definitely.
How they ended up in Ireland is still a mystery.
Yes.
Some people say it was used as like a tray for when people were sowing seeds onto the land.
Okay.
And so it's the design of the drum. It's made from goat skin and a circular frame with wood, and the skin is pulled tight on it, etc. So could have been very light and a handy utensil to have in a farm for like sowing seeds, etc. So there's that theory. Other people say it has come in from Northern Europe and ended up in Ireland, and then used in ceremonies, and then music and parties, weddings, funerals, wars.
Sure.
So it's been around for a long time, but it's certainly here to stay, and it has had an amazing journey, and it's being used in both modern music, traditional Irish music, and even being used as a form of vibrational medicine as well.
Which is something that I kind of forgot to mention at the start of the show, but to me and to everyone, I think super interesting, because sound is a thing on its own, and we're going to talk a bit about that, about the frequencies and how they're used for healing and all these different things, and how you're involved with that as well.
Absolutely.
Which is super interesting to me, because I do know a little bit about it, but I look forward to learning lots more.
Surely.
But back to the drum, and if we go to camera 3, we've got some decoration. The studio's decorated today. We've got a couple of drums here. This one in particular, which is beautiful decoration on its skin. And it's so nice that I didn't want to touch it when you brought it in.
Oh, not at all. This one here is.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of festivals over the years, and
Yes.
and I've at festivals you run into extremely interesting people, and
Yes.
amazing creative artists.
Yes.
And every now and again, I ask the artists and commission them to draw on the drums.
Sure.
With this drum in particular, there was a series of 3 made,
Uh-huh.
and the drawing on the drum itself, it's a legend. It's called the Hound of Ku Holland,
Uh-huh.
and it's a legend in Ireland. You can see there is. Here's the hound, and this is Ku Holland, and what he's carrying there is it's a hurling stick, which is associated
Yes.
with the game hurling.
Yes.
And what the legend is that he killed the hound by hitting a ball into the mouth of the hound, and I think it's just beautifully illustrated here, and
Yes.
with the Celtic drawings. It was done by a lady called Shanae.
Shanae.
She's from up in Queensland.
Irish background.
Of Irish descent, I believe,
Yes.
and she's around the Sunshine Coast. So she
Uh-huh.
did 3 drums for me, and one of the drums actually made its way into space.
Into space.
One of the smaller versions of this, and that's
Yes.
quite an interesting story I'd like to share with you.
Indeed. We can probably start with that. There's so
Sure.
much that I want to talk about. I mean, even looking at this image, one thing that comes to mind is the mystery and the mysticism that comes out of Ireland. You know, we all hear of the leprechauns and
Yep.
and the
The
fairies. and all these
leprechauns
things.
are real, you know.
No, I look. I've never seen one, but I'm not one to dismiss ancient people's beliefs as quick as a modern day man normally would. But it's actually for all of us, it's something that's quite interesting and I think quite it's quite a thrill to hear about the Irish law and all these things. So maybe we can talk a little bit about that.
Of course.
But you beat me to it. We are going to kick off with the Irish drum in space, because I think that is an awesome story and one that definitely gives you bragging rights at the pub, as they would say. It's a beautiful story, my friend. So please tell us about the Irish drum in space.
Absolutely. So it's funny with this story here. Sometimes people look at me as if I'm making the whole story up,
Yeah,
but it is
sure,
a true one.
sure.
As we were talking about earlier, I've done a lot of festivals over the
Yes.
years. I've been in Australia for just over 15 years, and at festivals, I've had the opportunity to meet absolutely amazing people, amazing musicians and artists and people that work in business and everyday characters.
Yeah.
And at a festival, I would, at each festival, I would do workshops throughout the day. I would have 15 to 20 people sitting in my marquee, and they would have booked a time to come and learn some of the basic rhythm patterns with me. And it's a great opportunity to meet fantastic people.
I'm sure.
I was doing a workshop one day, and I met a lady. Her name was Mariah, and she really enjoyed the workshop. A great feedback from her, and I was curious to find out what she did herself.
Yeah.
And she didn't really go into too much detail, but I was curious that if I ever ran into her again, I would ask her. And I saw her then a few weeks later at another festival. She came and did another workshop with me, and I asked her what she did, and she actually says, "Well, I work for NASA and JAXA, which is Japanese Space Agency." And I said to her straight away, almost kind of for fun, I says, "That's great news. Let's get a drum into space." We both laughed.
Sure, go figure.
Okay, roll forward a few more weeks. I'm doing a workshop at another festival. I think it was Illawarra Folk Festival, and there was a grass embankment which ran up to my marquee, and I had one of the marquee sides on at the time, so she couldn't actually see that I had 15, 20 people in my marquee. I was just about to start a workshop, and I saw her running up the hill, really excited. Yeah. And she shouted up the hill, "Gavin, I've worked out a way we can actually do this." So that's what we set out to do. One of the drums, which has a similar design to this, was put into what is called payload, which in Australia they have the NASA and JAXA have a place in Central Australia. I think it's near Alice Springs.
And JAXA is what?
Japanese Space Agency.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we did, we managed to get one of the smaller drums in with, I think it was a very expensive telescope, which was going up to something like 60, 70 kilometers up on the edge of space, where the stratospheric balloon, when it fully inflates, we're talking about the size of a football stadium.
Wow.
These things are enormous.
Wow.
And it was taken up on a crane. Once the balloon is fully inflated, it then takes the payload up, and that literally goes the whole way up to the edge of space. From there, there's various experiments happening. I think in this particular one, there was an infrared telescope which was taking photographs on the far reach of space, looking at certain stars using that technology.
Interesting.
Which the payload itself, I think it was worth many hundreds of millions. And there's one of my drums in there.
There you go.
In there for the ride. So I thought it was a great opportunity to celebrate.
Sure.
Mariah's of Irish descent.
Sure.
And she was coming up to retirement as well. And we basically snuck it on at the last minute, you know. And then the other scientists thought this was a great idea and signed the inside of it. And we've got Japanese signatures, and so they really got in behind what she was doing. We also had a couple of guitar picks in there, with a guitar pick from Jim Magini from Midnight Oil.
Sure.
Damien Leith as well had a guitar pick in there. Yeah.
All the Irish Australians coming through, no? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I had some Celtic jewellery commissioned to go in there as well.
Amazing.
By Desi from Celtic Dreaming. He actually made this ring as well with all the swirls. So very, very talented artist. So there's a few artists who I refer to. We all jumped on and hitched on for the ride.
Sure.
Up into space. So
What a great opportunity to represent Irish culture and Irish culture in Australia in particular, because the launch was from Central Australia from memory. Yeah,
Central Australia, yes.
Yeah.
And there was a few times it was called off because of weather, etc. Because it's quite a big operation.
I'm sure
to get that, waiting for the right conditions, etc. But I got a phone call live from Mariah at the time.
Sure.
Very, very excited, and this was actually happening, sort of thing. So, for the first Irish drum in space.
Yeah.
Probably a couple of records in there for the highest drum.
Sure.
The highest descent.
Sure. It's good you say that, right? So is Guinness Book of Records involved in this at all?
This one here, no, I was involved in the Guinness Book of Records, which was the first time the Boron got into the Guinness Book of Records for the largest drumming ensemble. This was a separate event, and
sure,
I could go into a little bit more detail on that one there.
Yeah.
It was around about when I arrived in Australia. It would have been about 2005. I got the opportunity to both entertain and get the audience involved at an Irish-Australian business network that was being hosted in the exhibition centre in Sydney for St. Patrick's Day.
The old exhibition centre, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And there was 1,000 people at it, and it was a surprise that everybody was going to get an Irish drum on the day. There was 100 tables of 10. Each table had 10 drums, and each table then I allocated a table captain, and I had about 40 marshals there on the day.
Sure.
And what we had to do is to keep everybody drumming to a piece of music for 5 minutes. So all in all, it was a success. We pulled it off.
Sure.
And it was the first time the Boron actually got into the Guinness Book of Records under human achievement. So I'm very proud of that.
Okay, so tell me then what the record was specifically what?
Was the most amount of people playing the Boron.
The Boron.
Yes.
Okay, sure.
And that was the first time that the Boron got into the Guinness Book of Records.
Sure. And has it been broken since?
Well, there has been another gathering of people that happened in Ireland, but I'm still extremely proud that
of course.
I pioneered the way.
Whether someone's broken the record's still yours as the first one to do it, right?
Absolutely. So that's the thing. I love doing firsts.
Yeah.
And again, the space opportunity was fantastic, and
definitely,
and quite an adventure. And that's the thing, that this drum has I believe it's the gift that keeps giving.
Sure.
It's taken me on an amazing adventure, both as a career as a musician.
Yes.
I've had the opportunity to create 10 albums. Some of them are dance albums, some of them are meditation albums, other are traditional folk, and
sure,
it's just such a diverse instrument. Then the opportunity to really travel around the world and playing at different festivals. I've played at Glastonbury as well.
As big as they
England.
get.
Absolutely, I've played there, and also all around Australia. I performed at Woodford, on the main stage at Woodford, in the amphitheatre. So it's the instrument itself. I see it as just this great social ticket, an adventure, and to really spread the joy that I've got out of it with other people.
And what a blessing to be able to not only do all of those things, but also earn a living from it.
Absolutely.
Particularly pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID, yes.
Pre-COVID. I know we were talking off camera that, COVID, myself as well, has taken a big hit. Our careers have taken a big hit because of it, because
definitely
anything that involves, social gatherings and all of that is always going to be affected by the pandemic. But also the ancestral vibrations coming through the instrument into your life, and I'm sure most people probably won't get to see I guess the probably spiritual side to it, because I know that there's a spiritual side to it, but and then there's a deeper level to it, and I know that's also part of what you do, because we have the electronic kind of music production, which I think fuses some of those flavors.
Oh,
in there.
absolutely.
Yeah, always. Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's who you are. Then we've got the traditional folk,
Yes.
Irish, drumming and everything that involves. But then we've also got the sound and the metaphysical aspect of the drums.
Absolutely.
And perhaps we can talk a little bit about that, because to me that's super interesting.
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
as a humanity now more than ever, there's a much more interest, and there's much higher consciousness that we're reaching.
Definitely.
And yes,
And even, especially now, in these times as well.
Yes, my brother. Yes.
A few years back, when I came to Australia, I had the opportunity to play and perform and talk at the Mind Body Spirit Expo in Sydney and also Melbourne.
Bunch of hippies.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love them. Yeah.
But and it was through that I met a lot of people that were into the meditation
Sure.
side. It's one aspect I've always loved as well, because drumming at the end of the day it is meditation.
Very much so.
What it can do is, let's say for example, you come in from work,
Yes.
you're stressed out, you've had a bad day, your boss has shouted at you, etc. After a couple of minutes of drumming, that will have cleared your mind. You'll feel a lot more relaxed, and that anxiety will have left you. Your mind will slow down.
Yes.
This is all backed up by science. We
course.
have various different brainwave frequencies. We've got alpha, theta, delta, gamma. There's even
In the brain, yes?
yes. That's right, in the brain, and what drumming can do, it can relax the body, it can slow the mind.
Sure.
Even if you're feeling a bit flat and very lethargic,
Yes.
after a few minutes of drumming, you can feel much more energized. When you combine that with breathing as well, so you can really drumming. You could summarize it as drumming when you're playing, also when you're listening. It can lift your spirits.
Definitely. Look, I think for thousands of years, sound has been used not only as a healing tool, but for many other uses. There's even lots of evidence of levitation, which we mentioned in previous conversations, that it was used. Even some people will tell you that the pyramids were built by levitation, because modern science will explain away that it was, they were pulled by thousands of, somehow miraculously pulled by thousands of slaves, over, milk.
Yeah.
And I've been to Egypt, I've seen it myself, and I see the drawings and the explanations, and it's ridiculous once you see what was there.
The stones are enormous.
Yes.
That a modern day crane couldn't lift.
Exactly, yes. But particularly analog sound, so acoustic sound.
Yeah.
Because digital is a different thing now. Even when we record something, even if it's an acoustic drum, once you record it into digital and you play it through digital, sometime around the year 1950, I recall, they changed the frequency in which into which recorded music comes out, and unfortunately, that's the wrong hertz. It's not the natural vibration state of nature.
Yeah.
So some will tell you, the cynics will tell you, that it was done on purpose to keep humanity off balance.
Yeah.
And if you look at some of the characters behind that decision, it starts to make sense. But I don't want to go there right now. I definitely want to talk about some of the states of mind that can be achieved, and also in your experience through your career and what you've been involved in.
Sure.
Where have you gone with the drums and other players and instruments around you? Where have you gone, and what have you seen, and what have you been involved in, please?
Oh, absolutely. Look, I'm going to touch on a couple of different stories.
Please.
I've been teaching for a long time and met many different people, and each and every one of those people have come to learn for a different reason. And it can be to de-stress, to have an activity, to forget about work.
A hobby.
Absolutely. Yeah. A few things that really jump out at me is one of my students a few years back, he took ill and had to have treatment in hospital. And I remember he really wanted to get a drum off me, and he met me. He checked himself out of the hospital, got a friend to drive him, and I organised a drum for him that he wanted to play in between his treatments and that. And he still had one of the
catheter.
Yeah, in his arm when I met him. He wasn't allowed to have a Guinness, unfortunately. So we both had lemon lime bitters or whatever we had at the
That's
time.
a crime.
We caught up, and I gave him what he had asked for, and it was just an absolute pleasure to hear that from him. A few months later, that drumming really took his mind off what was going on, and he felt that it was a great distraction that got him through those few months, etc. So it was very rewarding to hear that that the exercise that I'd given him put a smile on his face and helped him through that period of time. Also, as well, I've been asked to, it was with an organisation, Mission Australia, put together a programme for young kids that had lost their way, and it was at a centre in Parramatta, and they when I went into the room, there was a police liaison officer, and there was about 25 kids, teenagers, and they weren't up for doing much, and I think at the start, I'd purposely hidden all the drums and everything we were going to be using in the room, and I could see the look on their faces. It's like, who's this guy?
What are we doing here?
What's he going to tell us? I introduced myself and told them that we were going to be doing some drumming, etc. And I could see them still looking at me funny. But when I played for them, they really perked up. I then told them a little bit of the story about my background as well, like from coming from Northern Ireland. Also the fact that music is a great way to lift your spirits, and also to be creative. And for them, and I told them that every one of them was a creative person, their own individual, and what we were going to do is we were going to make a drumming workshop, and that was going to kick off the opportunity for them to record music in a recording studio. So once I'd delivered that information,
of course,
it was so rewarding. It went from 25 people in the room looking at me almost like, we hate this guy already, we don't know what he's going to say to. Go forward an hour and a half. They're all fighting over who's helping me carry the bags to the car, and that was really rewarding. And
beautiful thing.
And then helping them put together music, putting together some rap tracks, teaching them about rhythm, getting sound, bringing the best out of them, and really getting them to love themselves, and telling them that they are a really special people, and amazing and talented. And some of them, unfortunately, wouldn't have been told that, when they were growing up, etc. But very, very rewarding.
Our world can use a lot more of that.
Absolutely.
Particularly with young people, they're very lost and no sense of belonging.
Yeah, absolutely. And so there's another example of the drum, giving everybody a bit of inspiration. And self-worth, etc. So that was amazing as well. And then also being involved in I suppose the third aspect would be drumming and teaching people how to meditate using the drum. Even people that say they have, and I hear this all the time, people saying, I have absolutely no rhythm, you could never teach me. And I'm like, I hear this so many times, but after 10, 15 minutes, I can prove them wrong every single time. Even with a simple exercise like holding the drum, putting some rice in the inside of it and tilting it from side to side, listening to that sound. It's like an ocean drum, and it's a beautiful meditative sound and process, which is like, it's an instant expert rhythm. And once they do that, and then once they start to feel and listen to the sound, it really kind of slows their mind down. And like, that's just one example of an exercise when you're using the drum in meditation.
So what you're saying is Paulie has a chance of developing some rhythm then?
Paulie's got great rhythm,
No, I don't. Our files.
Not at all. You've got the swagger, you know?
Yes.
Yeah,
Agreed.
definitely.
Let it out, Paulie.
Yeah.
Where did you learn drumming?
Look, I'd always been interested in Irish music as a kid.
Yeah.
And in Northern Ireland, you're always hearing traditional Irish music. I grew up at the heart of the Sperrin Mountains, a town called Ballinascreen, and it we were influenced by traditional Irish music, and the style of music was from the West Coast, was from Donegal. You would have the different violin fiddle styles, and I would always love the sound of Irish music and hearing it being played in pubs.
Yeah.
And then at school as well, started playing the tin whistle, and then I did some Irish dancing, and just was surrounded by Irish culture.
Sure.
It actually wasn't until I was 19 that I started playing the drum. So I started drumming quite late.
Sure.
Or at the right time. There's never a right or a wrong time.
No.
But I was given one by my parents. My mum and dad gave me a drum for Christmas, right?
Uh-huh.
And that's where
Thank you, Mum and Dad.
Absolutely. I owe it all to them. And basically, it's the gift. It changed my life. It just sent it on a different path. It's just, I loved every aspect of it.
Yeah. It's it just reminds me of, that whole thing about being called. You probably said, well, I chose this drum, but probably the drum chose you.
That's like Harry Potter.
Yes. No, but I mean, as crazy as that sounds, I've heard that over and over for so many times, and even if people aren't sort of openly admitting it or even realizing it, often this is the case. These things come with ancestral lineages and all these things are involved. But a beautiful thing, a beautiful world out there if we open ourselves up to it. And I can see all this positivity flowing from that relationship with the drum.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And I guess as well, having done all the other musical aspects leading to the drum, that gives you a greater knowledge of the Irish music, because, if you would have just picked up the drum and always just stayed with the drum, you wouldn't have had the insight into the other instruments and the dancing and everything, which is all related too, but all different at the same time.
Definitely.
So that probably makes you, I would say, even better drummer, because you understand the other parts in the puzzle, no?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think that it was a huge influence. Having gone to Irish-speaking college in Donegal during the summers, and having doing the dance classes and all there, it really gave me an opportunity to really embrace the rhythms, the sounds, and also I was already familiar with Irish music, but I also wanted to look at other styles of music and world music and jazz, and I just thought, hey, how's this instrument going to sound on a dance track?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think that happens too. I mean, myself as a kid, I remember thinking, I wonder how rapping would sound over, like salsa and all these things, which led me to create my own group in the early 2000s, and so I think that's kind of what we all do when we come with this background of whatever it is, Irish, drumming, rapping, whatever it is, and you sort of bring it in with the other cultural elements that are a part of you. It's just like natural flow of things, isn't it? Completely. Where you want to combine them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and try it out. It's like a challenge almost as well.
Where can you take this?
Yeah.
Like, for example, you're rapping. You could take that on an amazing adventure.
Sure.
You could perform and all over the world.
Of course.
Inspire people.
Definitely.
And I think that is what it was. For me, my column was the drum.
Yeah, and Irish culture, I mean, one thing that I always highlight on the show is, I guess, some of the weaker sides of our society over here in Australia. As amazing as the country is, we're lacking in the cultural side. And one of the things that I feel is missing is music. We listen to a lot of music, we stream a lot of music, but there's not much live music being created and original material coming out and things. I mean, arguable, or everything is arguable, and that's sort of one opinion. But Irish culture seems to be very musical, yeah? There's definitely a lot of that, or is that a misrepresentation?
Look, you know yourself, if you think Irish music or Irish people, the first thing you think is dancing, singing
Irish
along.
jig, no, what do you call
dancing,
it?
Irish jig, like river dance.
That's right.
Lord of the Dance.
Sure.
You think about things like this. Culture wise, it's music and drumming and playing instruments, and it's a huge part of the culture and socializing.
Yeah, because if you look at your cousins in Great Britain, there's not that much music. I mean, everyone has music. Let's face it. Every country, every culture, every people in the world have music. But if you were to compare them side by side, the Irish definitely have a lot more, right? A lot more of that dancing and the music.
Oh, we definitely know how to get a party going. That's for sure.
We all know that. We all know that. Yeah, sure.
Definitely. And the boron, the Irish drum, can get feet tapping.
That's right.
It can get people, forgetting about work.
Sure.
Loosening their ties.
Sure.
And letting their hair down. And I've seen that many times when I've performed both in Ireland and here in Australia.
And I think one thing we tend to forget in Australia is as important as it is to work and create abundance and wealth and all these things, it's also important to wind down and switch off. And I think that's probably what we're going back to what I was saying. We're probably missing a little bit of that,
Bit of balance.
A bit of balance. And definitely things like drumming and these hobbies, especially with music and sound, which obviously brings other things into play. I think it's very much a positive thing. And speaking of what it brings into play, I wanted to touch on the science side related to the frequencies and even some of the brainwave frequencies that you mentioned before.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about that and your involvement in those things, or where this knowledge comes from and what you've seen, how you've seen it work?
Well, when I started teaching the drum, some of the people I would teach would be from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
And for example, I was teaching a barrister once, and I remember seeing him on his first lesson, and let's just say he was very, very stressed out, and the circle he would have been involved in would have been all in the legal profession.
Sure.
And he even told me this himself. He says, I'm coming to see you because I want to unwind. I want to forget about work.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And one of the things I got him to do after I showed him the positions and holding the drum and holding the stick and all that there, and also his shoulders were like, stressed out.
Stone.
They were like this. And I was like, you've got to relax your shoulders. I gave him some exercise to do that.
Yeah.
And then showed him some of the basics on the drum. And I kid you not, I could watch the colour coming back into him. I could see the blood circulation is getting a rosier glow about himself.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to relax. And it was really because his mind was slowing down and he was switching off.
Yeah.
And he wasn't thinking about what he had to do that night to prepare for the next court case. And also I've seen this with people from different professions, accountants, solicitors and barristers, business people, entrepreneurs, and what drumming does, the first thing it does, and the absolute basics is it gets you to ground yourself. It gets you to come back into your body
and live in the moment, right?
Yep, live in the moment, to breathe again, and to slow your mind down.
Yeah, much needed.
Much needed. And whenever I've had people in front of me over the last, I've been drumming for 25 years and teaching for that length of time, and having so many different people in front of me, each time you see the shoulders coming down.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a natural high for them.
Sure.
You see them getting a buzz out of this.
Sure.
And they leave at the end of the lesson or the session, they leave a lot lighter, a lot more relaxed,
sure,
and a lot more chirpy as well. So in basic terms, it's the first step is getting them to come back into their body, so to speak, and slow their mind down and forget about the stress that's happening outside.
Sure.
I was fascinated by this, so I looked into
The science.
the science of
Sure.
it, and your brain has different frequencies. You've got delta, theta, gamma, alpha, and there are also new ones that have been discovered as well, in terms of Tibetan monks, that are the guys that sit in the snow, sub-zero temperatures, and yet they melt the snow around them.
Yeah.
Their brain wave it's going at a very slow frequency.
Yeah.
They're able to maintain their body heat. And let's face it, our minds and our brains are the most sophisticated computer on the planet.
Indeed.
We've got all this technology, but each and every one of the listeners have got an amazing computer which is right between our ears.
Yes, we do.
And we have the opportunity to experience that every day. And it's incredible what people can do.
Yes, brother.
If you set your mind to it. And the mind goes at different frequencies.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to read up and explore some of the different frequencies, especially when it comes to relaxation, meditation, even manifestation.
Sure.
To get you to a state of mind where you imagine you in the future.
Yeah.
Achieving something that you've set your heart on, so to speak, and
Allowing it to happen.
Allowing it to happen.
Yeah.
You still have to do the work,
Of course you do. Yes.
but I think visually, once you can imagine something, it becomes real.
Yeah, yeah. I think manifesting. If manifesting was as simple as sitting down and imagining that it's going to happen, and it's just going to happen by you just sitting there, then the whole world would be, something or somewhere. Unfortunately, that's not true.
Yeah.
There's no achieving without action.
Absolutely. And there is there's a formula. There's steps you have to do.
Sure.
One of the most important things to me, and what I've experienced over the last 25 years, is it's going back to the examples I gave you of people sitting in front of me and coming back into their body.
Yes.
I'd describe that as dropping the anchor, and for them to be present in the moment, without going into too much detail, to really for them to be aware of their surroundings and where they are,
well, for thousands of years, every single religion and spiritual discipline will tell you, particularly from Asia, which I think they were a bit more practical, let's say, less religion and more sort of faith and guides to how to live your life. They'll tell you about breathing and being present in the moment. And there's no happiness anywhere else, just there.
Being in the moment.
Being in the moment.
And I see that as a coordinate. When you get people to be in the moment, I call it space-time.
Yes.
A lot of people, when you say something like space-time, you think, oh, this is crazy. I can never get my head around it. But it's really where you are right now. If we take away this studio and this furniture and where our location is and in Sydney, and if we take everything away, we are in a location which is in space.
That's right.
That's the time we are right now.
Yes.
You in the future, you want to achieve something. That's also a coordinate.
That's right.
That's you. So you visualize both and you set up a pathway between the two.
Correct.
You still have to do the work to get there. But you can see it. It's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Well, it starts with and that's why manifestation is 100% fact, because what it is, as you say, you're setting a coordinate point.
Absolutely.
And then that allows you to act accordingly, let's say, so you can reach, it's like trying to get somewhere without the map. Whereas the manifestation is like drawing that map.
That's drawing the map.
It is.
And then, also the drum is a device for you to lock yourself in, to get yourself back into your body, to really relax. Yeah. And without going into too many details or talking about quantum physics, it's two locations to get from A to B. This is a great tool for doing it.
Look, and there's I already touched on sound, but sound is actually so much more important than any one of us really even understands, because even in the Bible, It starts with the word,
And the Big Bang Theory.
in the Big Bang Theory, it's a bang. So again, this whole coming back to sound and our ancestors, I think, which were much smarter and more knowledgeable than we are, they understood and they harnessed sound a lot more. And until this day, I mean, Tibetan monks are one of the few peoples in the world that can heal people with sound alone. And the drum in particular, I know with gongs, I've left my body in a gong ceremony.
Amazing.
It was only for a few seconds until I realized I was out, and then boom, I came back in because you're not supposed to do that. But I also have a quick story. So my father is a percussionist, been a percussionist for a long time, and my family tells a story of when I was like a tiny little baby. He'll go to gigs and he'll sit me on his lap and he'll be playing the congas, for the band and everything. So I've had it in me for a very long time. But one time I was in New Zealand. I don't think he even knows this. He's a bit loco, yeah. Both my granddad and my dad both have the nickname El Loco. So I've got a little bit of that in my DNA too. So we were downstairs in his house and he started playing, and without even realizing, an hour had gone past. But to me, it felt like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So I think there's so much more to.
Oh, they call that, they talk about it as the zone.
Yes, definitely the zone, my friend. Yeah, and we can all go there.
Yeah.
Many different ways of getting there. There's people that do it through martial arts. There's people that do it through meditation, yoga.
Yeah.
But I think sound brings a different aspect to it. And I know coming back to Egypt, which is our place I visited 2 years ago, blew me away. And the people that took me there, which I'm extremely thankful for, they took me to a place which they called the hospital.
Yeah.
You won't be heard called the hospital by anyone else except these people.
Yeah.
Who are the custodians of true Egyptology.
Hey, it's funny. I'm getting goosebumps hearing this story.
Man.
This is fantastic.
I mean, I can go on forever. Trust me. And Paulie knows as well. I was incredibly blessed to be on this journey with these guys. I'll tell you a lot more about it off camera, brother, because it's amazing. But so they took us to a place, and it's clear that everything that was going on there involved sound. And he even explained to me, and no one knows this because today the Egyptologists, which comes from Napoleonic era, it's very denigrating to the Egyptians. Yeah, it's very like they didn't know what they were doing. We're superior. But they will tell you that you had to stand in that place, and they'll tell you, okay, go there by yourself because they can't come with you because then they disturb the sound and everything. You stand, and if you stand in a certain position, listen. Wait till the wind blows and listen. So you go into this like little kind of like chambers and things in this building, and you stand there and it's like and this vibration. And then also sticking with sound, essentially every pyramid has its own chord, its own note, musical note. And of course, they're all perfectly aligned, north, south, or east to west. And inside every pyramid, everything is about sound. Externally, it's about light. And that's why they would combine limestone. So the outside casing would be limestone, fine Egyptian limestone, and then all these layers, effectively creating a solenoid of all different layers, which creates electrical current.
And can you imagine what they would have looked like in their heyday?
Indeed, yeah.
It wouldn't look like.
No.
I think it's a shell.
Yes.
Now, but
yeah. So as we were told, what you see today in Egypt is only 20% of what it was.
Yeah.
So, you're looking at already it's incredible what you see, and what you're seeing is only 20%.
Yeah.
So imagine the other 80% and everything that we lost with that civilization. But back to sound, Yusuf Awiyan which we're trying to get on the show from Egypt. Obviously, he's not going to travel from the Khemit Ancient School of Mysticism. That's their organization. Khemit is the real name of Egypt, so they were the Commissions, not the Egyptians. Egyptian comes from Gyptos, which is a Greek word. A lot of what we understand of the Egyptian civilization is looked through the prism of the Greeks, who were the first to kind of not the first, but from modern sort of Western world, they were like the first to take that knowledge with them, take the knowledge west as they did. But he would take us into the pyramids, and he would have a flute with him.
Yeah,
I've got videos of this. It's beautiful, and I remember particularly the Red Pyramid. He will play inside, and even as we were going in. He will in certain positions around the tunnels, he will stop and make a humming noise, and the whole thing would vibrate.
Yeah,
literally, yeah, and then take us into the main chambers, which in the Great Pyramid of Giza is called the King's Chamber, incorrectly so, because it's got nothing to do with kings or queens or tombs, by the way. There's never been a mummy found anytime, anywhere inside a pyramid. But he will lay us down in the sarcophagus, so-called sarcophagus, because it's not a sarcophagus. We'll lay down inside and make a humming sound in one of the corners of the sarcophagus, like a woo, and that thing would take off like a huge drum, and you would literally feel your body and your soul almost want to levitate out of that place.
Incredible.
So there's a huge connection with sound, all through history, and back to today. Unfortunately, we don't have much of that, particularly with music being produced electronically as it is, myself included. We don't have that, So working with people like you and the work that you do, I think it's important beyond all the obvious things like the hobby and the being present in the moment, but the sound, the
sound's amazing and
amazing.
And if you could see the sound that's traveling out. Of when
you could see it,
you could see it. The way I describe it to people is whether you're singing, whether you're playing an acoustic instrument. If you could see it, it would be like, when you throw a pebble in a pond and you see the ripples coming across. Just imagine that coming out of the drum or coming out when you're singing or when you're rapping. And all the positivity and the energy that's coming out, and that's the vibrational side of music is incredible.
Well, I'm sure you've seen those experiments they do
on the speakers.
On the speakers, and they throw the sand on top, and you can see that the shapes. That's incredible. I would welcome anybody to look that up. Because I'm still blown away by the shapes that are created. Completely naturally by the different frequencies. They all have their own shape. It's amazing. I mean, if you look at that and don't understand the magic and the mystery behind sound, it's just amazing.
There's another one. A lot of people have heard of singing bowls. The Tibetan bowls where you put the wood.
Yes, of course.
And this is something that everybody can try at home. If you happen to have one lying around, put some water into it and get the wooden stick and get that sound coming through, and you'll notice that it takes maybe a minute or two, with the sound going and the vibration going. You'll feel it in your hand. You'll feel the vibration traveling through your hand. If you keep looking at the water, it takes a couple of minutes, but after a while, the water looks like it's starting to bubble, like you're boiling the kettle.
Like it's boiling.
So it takes about 2 minutes the first time you do it with that volume of water. If you leave that in the bowl, if you go back to it at any time and you do the same vibration, it bubbles straight away.
That's incredible.
So you've changed the molecular structure of that by the vibration and the sound.
That's incredible, bro.
It's a great one for anybody that has a Tibetan bowl at home. Give it a go.
Well, speaking of water and sound, I mean, we've mentioned on the show before Dr. Emoto out of Japan. He's the one that did all those experiments with water and its relationship with sound and also intention. So he plays different musics to water. and then freezes it and puts it under a microscope, and the difference is
And
at
sees the shapes.
molecular level. It's
Yeah.
incredible. So
Yeah.
again, you know,
Yeah.
such wonderful mystery in
Yeah.
the world, and so interesting.
And you think about it, like we're like 80-90% our bodies are 80-90%
Water.
water.
Thank
So
you.
if you have the positivity coming out in music and drumming
brother.
and singing, and you're singing for
Yeah.
people,
Mm.
that's why you get that buzz, that feeling
Yeah.
great. You actually feel good when
Yeah.
you're hearing good music
Yeah.
and in good company. And
Yeah.
so it could be said that
Mm.
your molecular structure is changing
Yes.
as well, just like those shapes
Yeah.
under the microscope.
Yeah, and your cells are vibrating.
Yeah.
And actually, I've had my friend who's a gong master in Spain has told me of literally witnessing like exorcisms where you have people lying down on the ground surrounded by gongs as the gong masters are playing.
Yeah.
And these people are like convulsing and like yelling, and then afterwards they feel incredible, as if this huge weight has been
Like a release.
release.
Yeah.
Which obviously then brings into the picture all these other things like spirits.
Oh, spirits, absolutely.
Yeah, which is very real and present.
Polly's smiling at me over there.
Yeah. Well, I know he wants to go paranormal.
Yeah.
But actually, speaking of Paulie and speaking of sound, Star Wars. And there's a link there, isn't there, with the name of the gentleman? I'm going to bring Paul into this because I know he's salivating to speak about this. Paulie, wake up.
I'll have to teach Rafa these things because he didn't even know Warner Brothers did movies.
No. I knew Warner Brothers did movies, yeah.
John Williams,
Yeah.
you worked with him.
Well, look, I had the opportunity to play with him as a guest.
Let's talk about who the man is first, because donkeys like me, I don't know who John Williams is, but he's the creator of a lot of the music of Star Wars. Is that correct?
No, it's actually a different John Williams.
Oh,
We do our research here at Expansion. We suck. Please tell us about your John Williams.
John Williams is a nice, iconic Australian
I know
musician.
John Williams, yeah.
did
When he said
True
John
Blue.
Williams,
Yeah.
I thought True Blue.
Yeah,
Blue.
that's right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
who I thought, John Williams.
However,
that's my bad then.
no, Paul, I actually think there's a reason why this has come up. There's John Williams wrote the score for a number of movies, and 25, 30 years ago, he actually had the boron in it and the sound,
okay.
and it was that sound that made me so curious about getting this instrument. So in
Wow.
a roundabout way, so
that's
I'm glad
amazing.
that this John Williams,
Oh, wow.
I was
Talk
just
about-
channeling the thoughts of
Irish,
Good on you,
the
Paulie.
composer.
Right.
So
So we're talking John Williams of Star Wars fame.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So the guy that composed,
Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah, I thought it was. I suppose.
It's the
Yeah.
build-up, man.
Yeah,
Paul doesn't know these things.
you used to- a lot of drums.
you heard the drums.
and it was in a movie. It was it was the score that was written for a movie called Far and Away, which had Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise in it.
Okay.
Whether you like that movie or not,
Sure.
everybody has different tastes. However, the music had the boron in it.
Yeah.
And I thought I was just drawn to the
Oh,
sound.
wow.
Of it, sort of thing. So yes, so there's a reason why
Talk
we
about a
John
roundabout way.
Williams.
Man, that's the ultimate segue. Like, wow, everything was wrong and everything sort of ended up right.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
But,
But tell us about your affiliations with John Williams of Australian music fame.
Look, I had the opportunity to play with him at a venue where he lives quite close to, and I asked him I was playing there with the band.
Sure.
And I asked him, would you come and do a guest spot with us?
Yeah.
And a lot of the audience knew me in that.
Yeah.
I had arranged this with John Williams, and he says, yeah, no problem. I'll just pop home and get my guitar. So he literally did that. He popped home, got his guitar. He came in round the back. It's something that you could never do if
No.
you phoned up his agent or whatever. It just would never happen.
Again, one of those synchronicities.
So,
no? Yeah.
and all musicians, they want to play with each other.
Of course,
They
of
love
course.
to have a jam.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
And it's like if you go to any green room at a festival after a day
Well,
or
playing,
two,
yeah.
everybody's jamming.
Yeah.
Especially the drummers, in particular, drummers love drumming with other drummers.
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
So anyway, at this venue, I had asked John Williams. I'd seen him. He'd finished his dinner. I went over and asked him, "Are you enjoying the music, John?" Fantastic. I said, "John, it would be great if you could jump up and do a song with us." And I was being a bit cheeky, and he says, "Yeah, sure. I'll go home and get my guitar." So I'm on stage with the band, and I said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a special guest today." And I could see him. He was about to come down the stairs. I says, "Please put your hands together for John Williams." And a lot of the people in the audience, they had been coming to this gig for a while, and they were like, "Oh, Kev's having a bit of fun."
Yeah, that's right.
Then the next thing, John Williams comes up on stage beside me, and I just watched about 80, 90 people in front of the band, their jaws just drop and reach for the mobile phones.
Of course.
And he finished up on singing True Blue, and I just thought this is a great moment, a great opportunity, and I thoroughly enjoyed having a jam with him and playing the boron to True Blue.
Yeah,
sort of thing. So it was great, and that's the thing. The drumming and the boron, it has had created and allowed for all these amazing opportunities to meet incredible people over the years. You know.
Yeah, I wanted to then speak more about yourself as far as what are you doing, what have you done as well, because even what we have here, which is a DVD, Round Island in 32 Beats. Let's talk about some of these activities which are awesome, on their own. So this was Tourism Ireland.
That's right. I had the opportunity to travel around Ireland and play the boron in every county in Ireland. There's 32 counties in Ireland.
Sure.
Hence 32 beats.
Sure.
And as opposed to saying a round, I've used round as in the shape of the drum.
Yeah.
And the opportunity presented itself for me to play and teach when I visited every county in Ireland. I did that about 10 years ago. I was very fortunate that Tourism Ireland, and it was a great honour, they actually sponsored it.
Yeah.
And they also gave me a list of some of the places where they believed that I should go and stand. For example, in front of the Rock of Cashel, or in Temple Bar in Dublin, and the Giant's Causeway in the north of Ireland, in County Antrim, and it just was an adventure for 10 days.
Amazing.
Going around with
that's awesome.
With John, my friend John Dixon, who's driver stroke cameraman, location guy. He did everything, and we drove from the top to the bottom, to east to west, and we covered every county within about, I think it was actually 7 days. And it was just, when I tell anybody that, they think
impossible.
It's impossible, but we really did it. And one day in particular, we did 7 counties, and we did it at the time of the year, but there wasn't that much natural light. The light was mostly between 10 a.m. and 2:30, the brightest part of the day, and so we really had to get around the country fast. Thanks to John's great driving and a good car, we got to all those locations in time, and
good memories.
And we had an adventure doing it. We even got to visit the Blarney Castle in Cork. You've heard the Kiss the Blarney Stone.
Yes.
People saying that. When we arrived at Blarney Castle, they said to us when we were going in, they said, sorry boys, you can't come in with all the gear, and you need to fill out this form and all that there. We hadn't done that. We'd really gone round to all these locations and jumped over a few fences and a few hedges.
As you do.
But they were like, nope, you can't come in here. And I think having a bit of Blarney in myself before I even kissed the Blarney Stone, I managed to talk my way into it. The woman that had stopped us going in, one of her assistants came out to the car when we thought we weren't getting in. She came out a few minutes later and she said, "Come back in 10 minutes because she's going to finish her shift and you can come on in."
Sure.
And I just thought, that's
it was meant to be.
That's meant to be. We had the Blarney to talk our way into Blarney Castle. So,
And speaking of Ireland, I think I touched on it before, but it's a land engulfed in lots of mysticism. Yeah, lots
absolutely.
of fairy
Ancient
tales and
stone circles,
yeah,
amazing Newgrange. It's very ancient. And,
very ancient. Yeah,
yeah, so it's just it's a beautiful country to get around, and
yeah.
I'm looking forward to getting back there as well.
Sure.
Whenever all our flights get going, and anybody listening, watching, who hasn't been, you've got to visit. It's just you will be. They will throw the red carpet out for you. People will want to know where you're from and all your stories, and they're very welcoming.
I read something. My cousin Pavel, his mother has Irish descent, and when I read it, I remember I shared it with him. We were having a laugh. He's had a few bumps along the way, and we were laughing because this story tells of these like mounds, which are like, I don't want to say leprechaun mounds, but fairy
trees.
Fairy trees, that might be the case. And if they're disturbed...
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Okay.
And they were talking about how, like, even local governments, when they're building roads and stuff, they won't
go there.
They won't go there. I mean, to me, that's like, wow. Like, not many countries in the world, you know, would say they do that. So tell us a little bit about that. So it's fairy trees, is it?
Look, what it is, it's a tree, especially if it's an oak tree, if it's in the middle of a field...
Yeah.
They just won't touch it. They won't go there. A farmer will not cut that tree down if it's one tree by itself.
Yeah.
Also, as well, in Ireland, at certain times of the years, you get mushrooms growing, and they form like circles.
Sure.
And legend has it that that's when the fairies come out, and they dance around the trees. So that's why they got the name fairy trees. But there's superstition around. If you cut that tree down, you're going to have bad luck. Yeah. It's like if you drop a mirror or walk under a ladder.
Sure.
In Ireland, it's if there's a fairy tree on your land, and you own the land, you're not going to cut it, sort of thing. And even at that level, they'll go out of their way to build a road to circle around it. You know.
Okay, so let's pretend no one's watching. Have you ever seen a leprechaun?
I haven't, but I've seen some very interesting things here in Australia, actually, when I was taken to a very sacred place in the Hunter Valley region, and it was like, the only way to describe it, it was like something from Avatar, you know. So that would have been my most interesting visual. Leprechauns in Ireland. I haven't seen any leprechauns, but I've seen these circles around fairy trees, and there is something magical.
Yeah, you can feel it. Yeah.
Magical about it. Yeah. When you, and also as well, there's lots of stone circles in Ireland.
Sure.
And if you walk into those, the first thing that happens to me is you get goosebumps.
Sure.
You get the hair standing on the back of your neck.
Yes.
It's like it has its own energy about it.
Yeah. Well, back to our ancestors.
Yeah.
They were in tune with the energy grids and ley lines and all these things. And that's also, so Stonehenge and all these places, they're all related. Even the placement of the pyramids and all these different sites, and even cathedrals, which were built on top of ancient sites where these ley lines converge. And there's all this energy that comes out of the earth that our ancestors were channeling, that we lost knowledge about.
Like the chakras of the world.
Indeed.
Like even Uluru can be said as the heart chakra.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Glastonbury, the Tor in Glastonbury is known as the throat chakra, and we have these energetic lines that run around the world, and
very much so.
Incredible alignment of monuments. And as you said, that there's churches and cathedrals are purposely built on these lines.
Yes, correct. And so they were also referred to as dragon lines, funnily enough, by some of our ancestors, some peoples around the world. Very, very, very interesting stuff. And
Rafa.
Yes. You scared me.
I just want you to know, like, Kevin's actually been to jail and almost gone to a big fight.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
In the
Here we
jail
go.
cell, like just,
Yes.
Well, you wouldn't be Irish if you had gone into a brawl or something, I'm sure, no?
Well,
opening the paranormal segue.
this
Oh,
is,
paranormal segue.
yes, this is.
Tell me.
No, and yes, I have been to a jail,
Is this Maitland Jail?
Maitland Jail.
Yeah,
There was nobody, no prisoners in it at the time.
Yeah.
And, do you want to hear a bit of a ghost story?
Please do. I mean, I even if I said no, Paulie would make me
Yep.
say yes.
So-
But I do, by the way. I'm just joking.
Yeah. If you're listening or watching, go and grab a quick cup of tea and dim the lights. Dim the lights.
Dim the lights. Here we go.
But
Ja,
this
ja,
is
ja, ja.
this is something that happened.
Yeah.
I was asked to do a drumming workshop at Maitland Jail, which is near Newcastle, and it was part of a paranormal conference
Okay.
where they're bringing in lots of different people that had very interesting backgrounds and stories, and it's beautiful because drumming workshops, it's almost like a neutral card. You get invited to so many different types of events, and this is an opportunity to meet great people.
Yeah.
I was staying in Maitland, not too far from where the conference was being held, and I always like to visit where I'm going to go the night before, so that I know exactly where the place is and know the location I'm going to go to. I know the road, so I'm not going to be late the next morning. So I visited Maitland Jail the night before. I just took a drive, and I kid you not, it had this eerie feel about it. It was stormy. It was
Drove past it.
Okay,
sure.
and it was one of those places where I was like, the word, it gives you the heebie-jeebies,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So,
Yep.
and I was like, okay, well, I know where it is. The next morning when I arrived, I thought there would be a few people around and a few of the organisers, and I'm pulling these two big bags. There was just one lady at the front who was checking in all the presenters and the speakers for the conference, and I says, I give her my name, Kevin Kelly here from Boron World, and she says, look, you're in B wing. And I went, okay. So I pulled the bags over, and just imagine, if you've seen in the movies, the inside of a jail where you have this big open space, oval area, and then you have the different layers going up of all the different platforms with the cells and that. So when I walked in, that area was very dark. And the first thing I did was I went over to switch the lights on, and I could see the people the night before had put out some chairs, and I went, oh, well, I'm in the right place. I pulled in the two bags and put one at the door underneath where the lights were, and then I started walking with the other bag, which had about 10 drums in it, walking to the middle area. And let's just say it had quite an eerie feel. It was cold, had an eerie feel, and one of those moments again, you could feel the hair stand on your arms and the back of your neck. And what happened then was I could see I was walking towards where the chairs were, and the only way to describe it is it was as if somebody came right up to my face and came as close as possible and said something like, "What the hell are you doing here?" You know, right up to my face. You know when you were a kid, if you ever got into a bit of a fight, you know, with that standoffish, like a few pushes and things like that there. And nothing like this had ever happened to me before. And I was like,
but you're not seeing anything, right?
I'm not seeing anything.
You can hear it and you can feel
I can
it.
feel it. Even talking about it, like if
Yes.
I roll this sleeve up now, the hair's up again.
Yeah.
It was as if somebody was wanting to start a fight. There was an energy in the room, and not just one. And felt like there was a few people around me going, "What the hell are you doing here?" It's like almost like that scene in Ghost. If anybody's seen the movie Ghost, it's like, "What are you doing in my tree?" and that sort of thing, and that aggression behind it. So I dropped my bag, and I have to admit, Polly, I was pretty scared.
Oh, fuck me.
I
Yeah,
was
for
like,
sure, bro.
I was like,
I'm scared now.
do I throw the bag down and run out the door?
Yeah.
I didn't. I put the drum down. There's nobody else in the room. There's me, and there are energies around me, and I'm feeling it, and I'm thinking, what do I do now? So what I did and what I decided to do I said, I'm going to introduce myself. My name's Kevin Kelly, and I'm here to do a drumming workshop. And I'm from Ireland. And if maybe some of you guys might be from Ireland or of Irish descent. I'm not going to bring you any harm. I'm here to teach people and give them a bit of a joy and a bit of a laugh. And whenever I said that, I could feel the place calm down a little bit. And it felt like, okay, well, they're maybe having a debrief or a bit of a conversation around this. But it seemed to calm down a bit. And really and truly it was like, you know, when somebody's hiding on you in a room and they're behind the sofa or something like that there, and you walk into the room and you know they're there, multiply that feeling by about 50. That's what I was feeling at the time. And it seemed to calm down after I said that. So I kept pulling my bag up to where the chairs were. I put that bag down, and then I went to get the other bag, which was underneath the lights, started pulling that through the middle area down to the chairs which were at the very bottom. And as I was walking through, I could almost feel as if, okay, these guys are having a bit of a huddle. They're talking, and they're probably talking about me. So I put the bag down again, and I said, "Here, let me play a song." So I took out this whistle, and I says, "Look, I'm going to play this is an old Irish prison song. It's called The Old Triangle." And when I started playing it, the acoustics in the place were just amazing. And you could feel it traveling around, the sound traveling up through all the different layers and all that there sort of stuff. I played The Old Triangle, was a traditional Irish song, and it's a beautiful ballad. And when I got to the end of it, it felt as if the entities, energies in the room had all said, "Do you know what? He's all right."
Yeah, give him a pass.
He's all right, you know.
Amazing.
And then people started to come into the workshop, and it was a great workshop. There was 15 people at the workshop, and the crowd were fantastic. They were really good. We had a great session. We filled the room full of drumming and laughter and great vibration. And like at all my workshops, I sell drums. At that particular workshop, I had 20 drums with me, and there was 15 people in the workshop. Every single person wanted a drum. And it was almost as if these guys had gone over and gone, "Get a drum of this guy." And they were working on my side. Sure. And I was blown away. Yeah. But not only that, when they left at the end of the workshop, they showed the drums to some other people that hadn't done the workshop, and more people came in, and the remaining 5 were gone. So there was 20 drums sold, and there was a few people I had to give my business cards to. And it was just the most incredible experience. And when I was packing up, I said I thanked the space, and I said, "Look, if there's anybody's time to leave, you know, if walk into the light, you know," and the room was in a nice high positive energy, and it was just an incredible experience, you know.
Amazing.
And I cannot to this day, you know, it's just, you know, it's never happened since. Probably the only time in my life that would happen, but it was a scary experience at the very start, but it just felt that there was energy in the room that had been trapped, and look, maybe it was their time to leave.
What a sound, what a way to clean and to push those energies out, you know. The sound is probably the one way to do it. Question, did you pay commission to the spirits for all the extra work they brought you?
Let me say, definitely. I think I toasted them with a drop of whiskey that night. You know?
I think spirits like to be acknowledged.
Yeah. I thanked them for it. Yeah. You
good man. Good.
Thank you guys so much.
Good. You know, I've heard this somewhere. They say that cold feeling whenever there's like a spiritual presence, the presence of spirits, is because for them to manifest into our reality requires a lot of energy, and for that to happen, they need to draw a lot of the energy that's in the, and that's why and the heat, usually it's the heat, and that's
Yeah.
why you feel that cold. It's because they're
Absolutely.
sucking the
Yeah.
the energy out of the space,
Yeah.
and that's why you feel
That
the
goosebumps.
cold. Yeah.
And there's an interesting word. You know, when you move into a new place,
Yes.
what do you have when you move into the new place?
Yeah.
You have a house
House warming. Yeah.
house warming
Yeah,
party.
yeah.
And
Good
that's
point.
why historically there's always people,
Yeah.
music,
Yeah.
laughter,
That's right.
dance,
To
and they clear the
blow
energy,
away,
blow everything
to
away.
blow away.
Have a house warming party.
Yeah. And that's why you have fireworks as well. Is a big one. The Chinese who created the what's the word I'm looking for? Gunpowder.
Yeah.
They the fireworks to blow away the bad spirits of the year and bring in clean it out for the new year to come. And that's why we have the tradition of the fireworks at the end of years and so on. Really interesting stuff. Amazing.
It's really
amazing
interesting.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just great to experience.
Yeah.
You know, some of these things, and again the drum is. I wouldn't be there only for drumming and meeting these people.
I think I told a story before on air about me getting attacked by a ghost. No, Paulie, yes. I was at the Bay.
Yeah, in jail,
Yeah, but I spent some time on Her Majesty's pleasure, government funding holiday. But no, so one thing at the Bay is they used to hang people there. So, and apparently, I don't want to get this wrong, but where they used to hang people, and it was done until the 1900s and something. I can't remember the year exactly, but we're talking, roughly modern age. We're not talking, and where they used to hang a lot of people is where currently for the MSPC, which is one of the jails inside the complex of the Bay. Is where the reception is now, and in the reception there, the worker that used to work there was an inmate. He used to tell me about weird shit, but one in particular was this. They used to put a TV up high in this spot, so all the inmates in the holding cells are waiting to go back to their cells or waiting to get onto a truck or whatever. They used to just leave the TV on there, and he saw twice. Whatever massive TV they would put there, he saw it twice. Well, heard it because he didn't see it, but heard it and then saw it, the after effects of the thing fly over and smash into the opposite wall, a good sort of 10, 15 meters, and then obviously land. And we're talking those big old school,
the big heavy TVs.
Big heavy TVs, yeah.
That's amazing.
So there's lots of weird energies, and he would say, it's because a lot of people died here, So there's a lot of those. The paranormal is very interesting.
It is interesting, yeah. Well, it was a very interesting conference, Paulie, wasn't it?
Paulie loves all that shit.
Yeah, I remember, I don't know if you heard him, but this guy that, he lives in Boston, he had a, what do you call it? Ouija board museum. Do you remember him?
I think so, yeah.
At the conference,
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just telling us about the history of the Ouija
That's right,
board.
we were at that.
That's the one,
Yeah, it was, and Ouija boards, they were used as a form of like courtship. Do you remember him talking about that?
That's right. So it was the closest you'd get to if you go on a date, like right now, you just like have a sleep with him. But like that was like the closest you'd be like, able to touch someone.
Yeah, so you'd both have your hand on the glass, and this was like it was like all the houses had Ouija boards, and he was talking about the history of them and they were fashionable, and then how the movies changed people's perceptions of them, and that the whole, so it was something that wasn't like everybody's house,
Irish culture? No.
No. I think it was in America he was talking about.
Yeah, because I think
America.
But look, speaking of spirits and blowing them away with sound, and probably as a way for us to get towards the end of the show, I would love for you to show us some of this drumming, my friend, if you don't mind. It'd be nice to hear some of it and see you do your thing. So by all means, bro, if you can use some of the instruments we have around us,
absolutely.
Feel free to have a bash or
definitely
have a play.
What I'll do, I'm going to introduce you to this. Behind me,
please,
is one of the largest drums.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Probably ever see.
Yes.
And it was showing Paulie whenever I came in.
That's looks beautifully constructed too.
Absolutely. So this is 24 inch. It's a tunable Boron World drum, and I have two of these. The other three one is in the pyramids of Chi, which is in Bali. It's being used in a sound and healing chamber.
Beautiful.
The other one is in Queensland at a meditation place, and the third one is in Perth. But there was two that I have just the most amazing sound.
Yes.
And what I want to do is just I'm going to get you to I'm just going to bring it over here.
Sure.
I'm going to hit the
bass
drum.
sound on that one.
What I want you to do is just put your hand above the drum.
Yep.
Just feel that there.
Yes, of course.
You can feel that vibration.
Yes, you can. Very much so. Yeah.
And the sound of it as well, sort of thing. So I just wanted to demonstrate that and all the different sounds that you can get.
Very much so.
And these drums are the ones that I would use for like meditation sessions and things like that.
Because of the size and the notes that come out of it, yeah?
The size and the notes and
vibration.
Absolutely, the vibration.
Yeah. That's a beautiful instrument, brother.
So
goat skin, that one?
Goat skin, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I'll just leave that there. I'll just leave it flat, actually. There we go. And this is one of my stage drums. This is the drum that I would do most of my performing with. It's a 16-inch drum.
But the depth.
The depth has a hand tune system. You can see I've got my microphone on the inside.
Right.
And the sound, I'll just move this.
Do you think, brother, that you can move that as needed?
I've got a few different sticks here.
Sure.
And what this one sounds like, it's just incredible. It has a beautiful bass sound.
Sure.
I'll give you a little bit of a demo.
Please do.
See, I'm moving my hand on the inside.
Yes.
The beauty of the drum is you can get all sorts of rhythm patterns out of it. Say, for example, you wanted something which was a bit funky. I wanted to put you on the spot.
Sure.
Have you got anything you could rap?
Maybe not today.
I could drum along with.
Nothing comes to mind, brother.
Okay.
But to be honest, it is beautiful just to hear you play, bro. Even those notes with the that you're making with the what would you call that with the
hand on the inside.
But how you make you're bending the sound. Yeah. I love that, man. That's awesome. I've never heard that. I've heard it done on congas because you can slide your fingers, but I've never heard it on this type of drum.
So with this, the hand actually in the inside of the drum does a lot of the work.
Of course.
I've got a couple of different sticks here.
Sure.
This is a hot rod stick, which gives a beautiful whip, kind of treble bass sound. There's a washer on this which changes the sound of the ch.
As well. Because because the shorter it is, the less it vibrates, and the longer it is, the more it.
Absolutely. You've nailed it.
Yeah.
And also as well, when you use both ends, you get a triplet sound. I'll just show you.
That's right. Yep.
So you play on one side.
Yeah.
And then when you use both ends. If there's anybody listening or watching that remembers River Dance, you would have had these.
Yes.
So you can get all sorts of sounds out of it.
Yeah.
I've also brought in a different stick. This stick is actually, guess how old this stick is, this beater is.
Well, it being aluminium by the looks of it. I can't tell, brother, but I'm sure you're going to shock me.
It's from a tiger moth airplane, with the old school with the propellers.
Sure.
And that's one of the rods off the front of the engine.
Wow.
There was a guy called Eddie who was helping me with some of my out there stick designs, and he made this one. He made this one day. He actually he was a retired aeronautical engineer, and he had this laying around the workshop. and they put a couple of ends on it, and it's actually incredible. It's so light.
Probably off a Pan Am flight or something. You know, Pan Am,
Yeah, that's
airline
right.
that went us up. Yeah.
That's right. Yes.
It probably is.
Sort of thing. So it's
Yeah.
so you have such an array of sticks as well, and you can get great sounds out of them. And like for example, if you're watching at home, just get a knife or just get a
Or a fork or a spoon.
Yeah, get a spoon actually.
Get a spoon.
Spoon's better.
Yeah.
And just see if you can just tap along with that for a second, and that's a waltz or a 3/4 rhythm.
That
1 2 3 1. So there's a 3/4.
Yeah.
So and then a 4/4 is a think
Straight.
of indigenous Americans. Okay,
Yeah.
we associate it with the movies and that 1 2 3 4. When we speed that up,
I love that stuff, man.
So that's known as a 4/4 rhythm.
Sure.
Or in Irish, it's known as a reel. It's really easy to remember. It's REEL 1 2 3 4, and it's not played at that speed. It's actually played a lot faster. So 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, like that there. And 90% of all music is played in 4/4 time.
Yes.
And
4/4. Yep.
dance music
Yes.
as well, in particular. And when you combine that and put your hand on the inside.
Wow.
And then the other one I want to show you is that whenever you think Irish music, you think of a jig, don't you?
Of course.
Okay, so again, when I'm teaching people to play, I keep everything fun and simple. That's
Yes.
why I've loved doing it for 25 years.
Well, that's the introduction. Can't be complicated, right? Yeah.
If you take the word jig, which is spelled J-I-G,
Yeah.
if you take that word twice and it's J-I-G, J-I-G,
Yeah.
if you punch hard and hit hard on the J's,
Yeah.
you get this sound. You get J-I-G, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. When you speed that up. And if you think of that movie Titanic,
Yeah.
when they go downstairs
Yeah.
into the lower deck,
Yeah.
that's the rhythm they're listening to down
Uh-huh.
there. The jigs and reels, this is a jig.
Sure.
And this rhythm pattern is absolutely, once you learn it, it's absolutely guaranteed to get the party going, you know?
Definitely.
Sort of thing, so.
I'm actually really amazed, and this is what I love again about the show. But I know next to fuck all about Irish music in general. I know little bits of Enya. I think I was telling you before. My mother was fascinated by it, and
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
and you know, like the cores and things like that, which is they're all fusions. But when I hear that, I'm hearing tribal, and tribal is not what you expect from, you know, Celtic white Ireland, you know, thousands of kilometers away. And then that just blows me away because, I mean, I'm hearing tribal. I mean, properly syncopated, you know, it's not like your usual straight kind of white boy stuff that you would imagine, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'm amazed by it, to be honest. And I mean that, I really mean that.
Absolutely. No, it's great. Like
That's
beautiful. Drums
beautiful
have been
sound.
around for thousands of years, and
Yeah.
it could be said that drums were used for like going into battle.
Yes.
That kind of tribal, get everybody G'd up.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
you know,
It was a communication tool as well.
absolutely
In its essence,
Yeah.
going back
Yeah.
a long time.
messages.
Yeah, from far distances, they used to communicate with each other in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
drum.
a story. I know the shortened version of it, but when
Yeah.
there was an exploration happening, going to some part of Africa.
Sure.
And by the time it was a British party that was going into the jungle, etc. By the time that they had got there, they had heard the news, and it was relayed via communication on drums that Queen Victoria had died.
Oh,
And
wow.
by the time they got there, and then they got the written communication weeks later, but
Sure.
through the drum network and the sounds have been used for,
Yeah.
for communication.
Yeah, it's like an ancient Morse code.
Ancient Morse code,
Yeah.
or a form of binary,
telegraph.
you know, ones and zeros.
Exactly. The binary code. In its earliest form. Amazing, and very much at home for me as well. Again, with my sort of percussion background and actually Latin American folklore music has quite a similar sound, malambo and all these rhythms that come from the sort of pastoral kind of lands. But very, very interesting, my friend. And I guess what I would like to end with is for everybody listening, how could they find you? How could they connect? And I guess as well, what kind of services do you offer, and are there workshops and so on? Please tell us a bit more about that.
Absolutely. Very easy to get hold of. If you Google the word boron, Bodhran, we'll be on there on the first page. My website is boronworld.com. That's
awesome.
BODHRAN world.com.
Yeah.
And
we'll have the links shared
great.
with everything that we put up.
Thanks a million.
And about some of the things that people can do with you.
Sure. You can come and have one-to-one lessons. You can book a workshop for yourself and your friends. If you want to have a drumming party, get in touch. If you're the CEO of a company that needs to
corporate,
that needs a drumming circle, I can bring
bonding exercise.
Any
That would
amount,
be amazing.
any amount of drums into your organization. We can even get drums branded with your logo on them. You can give them as a gift to your staff and employees. Just if you have an idea or if there's something I can offer you, whether it's one-to-one lesson, group lessons, if you want to book the band, or the Irish band with a fiddle player, guitarist, just get in touch via the website.
Beautiful.
My number is on the website as well. Just give me a call and I'll be very happy to talk to anybody out there.
That's so cool, and I love your work. Love your presence as well. Much. I love your accent too, bro.
Thanks very much.
Irish people are much more of a pleasure to listen to than us with us Aussies with our Australian accents. I find anyway.
Not at all. I love the Aussie accent. And
thank you.
Thank you so much for
no need, man.
having me on today, and thanks for Paulie
thank
as well.
Paulie was the connection
today.
Thank
you, Paulie.
The glue, right? Some people would say the glue, like
So brilliant. Paulie's a great guy.
The chosen one, they'd say.
Yeah, you can take credit for something finally that you actually did, Paulie, not someone else's work, which is a change for Paulie because he's the credit taker. He's known for that. But anyway,
on you, Paulie.
Thank you, brother, and God bless
Brilliant.
you and everything that you do, and my wishes of abundance and
thank you very much for having
continued
us.
success and progress, bro. That's awesome, man. Awesome. And I got a feeling we'll be collaborating on a few things, brother.
I'm looking forward to
it. Yeah. I feel the vibration and the
Brilliant.
drums again. They take me home. So thank you, hermano. Thank you very much.
very
God
much.
bless you, man. And thank you to our foundation sponsors, Q Corp Construction. Thank you, brothers. And also to Crash Claim, making new friends by accident. Or is it meeting new friends? I don't know. I get it wrong every week. Shout out to Nick and the guys. And Variant Collective for helping us out with our social media. Expansion Podcast. Please share. Tell your friends. Check us out. And if you like it, continue watching us. We're almost up to 30 shows or something.
I feel that you're missing one sponsor. Like, just one that's really important to me. Like, one.
Really important to Paulie. Oof. Candy?
Yes.
Hey, Candy Nightclub every Saturday night at Shark Hotel. Now we're killing it. Dancing is back in Sydney, so we're having a great time. And if you guys want to check us out, candynightclub.com, Candy with a K. I'm sure you've seen it up on the screen. Come and shake your booty with us, celebrate your birthdays and so on. But, is that it? Thank you, Paulie. Thanks again, Kevin.
Thank you.
God bless. See you guys. Thank you for joining us. Muchas gracias.
Woo! That was great.
Man,
thanks so much.
No, man, thank you, my brother. God bless you, man. Thank
crack.
you, bro. No, that was amazing, man. That drum, I mean, it's just, I guess. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Rafa. Hit that like button, subscribe, whichever one that is, whatever it is. Please follow us. Please, you support, share, tell your friends, like, subscribe, hit that button, please. Thank you so much.
Expansion.